The point of this conversation is so that men such as yourselves that come from different walks of life, like JL said in the comments, we come from different backgrounds. It's not just a black or white thing or African American thing or a cultural thing. It's what we are actually facing as a society today when it comes down to males actually portraying their masculinity, whether it's in the home, out of the home, wherever the place may be, right? So the reason I brought this topic up and I felt like this is something that we needed to talk about is because I feel as though men such as yourselves need to come back together to bring that masculine energy and show these young men what males are, how they're supposed to operate or how they're supposed to carry themselves, and that it is okay to express themselves, like Antoine said, or like how Dwayne was just saying in regards to, it's okay for people to be emotional and not for what expressed to be taken the wrong way. So I just want us to like bring it back into saying, okay, how do we bring a solution to these problems of what we're seeing in our young male is Caucasian, American, Hispanic, or whomever? Because as Antoine said, there is a community out there. What is it? The LGBT community, where the laws have been passed to where there are, men that are now, they deem themselves as women. They're making these changes to their body. And then it's like, okay, where do we go? Then we have our kids that's coming up that are watching this stuff. So how do we portray to them like this is that ain't the way to go? Like that's not how know. I just feel like we got away from what the question was really asking. So I want to get back to the question. Like I want to get back to that to see how we can educate everybody else from different perspectives and everybody from their point of views. And if I'm making sense, I'm sorry, y'all.
No problem, Janae. I would say, listen, for me and my thing, this
Hold on, Antoine.
generation
I
is
just want
done.
hold on, Antoine.
This one is
Antoine.
done. Yeah.
Hold on, real quick. I just want to clarify the question. You want us to pretty much, the question is, how do we kind of help young men get back to their masculinity?
Yes.
Exactly. So this generation, as far as the youth today, done. That's over with. You can only start from, and I'll tell you why, because they're molded already, right? A lot of them are molded. I believe that you'll have the certain people you can mentor and certain people you could do, but to try to fix somebody else's child, or to try to talk to somebody else's child that's not yours, it's not going to happen, right? Because first of all, that child will never respect you, and he will never look at you as a father figure, and don't even try to be a mentor to him. The most you are is advice and an opinion, right? That's how it would be. But I believe the ones listening to this moving forward that need the guidance, those are the ones that will accept it. Because all this Me Too movement and all that just killed men expressing their masculinity, right? Because everybody's being very careful right now with how they act in certain places and do things. Because, like I said, for me the other day, held the door open for a girl. She said, "You don't think I'm strong enough to open it myself or hold it myself?" I was like, "You know what? You're right." And I just walked in, didn't bother going in, because everybody's careful. You hear it every day how careful people are now. It's not like you could do what you did before. So if you're asking me, how do we bring it back right now? No. How do you fix moving forward? By having these discussions. That's how I see it. Because you can't, they're molded.
So you said you opened the door for a female or a woman, and she snapped back at you and said,
she
"What
just said
now?"
you don't think she just said, "You don't think I'm strong enough to open it myself?" I said, "You know what? You're absolutely right. My bad. Forgive me for being a gentleman. I just saw you in the reflection when I was walking in the glass. I just thought I'd say, ladies first." She wasn't having that. I was like, all right. So just now I know the next time I ain't never doing that again. Believe
What
me,
was her nationality?
I'm walking in a
See
space
that,
for
see
enough for
that
one.
right there. See that right there. That's it
Yeah,
right there. I
yeah.
wanted to
I'm
hear
not
What?
getting
you
myself.
say
I'm
that.
not getting into
So
that. No one.
because no, let's talk about this. Let's talk
But
about this. So because that particular woman, she clapped back at you and said what she said. Now you're not going to treat the next woman with courtesy or respect because that particular woman told you that she didn't want you opening the door for her. Why is that?
no, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look at every woman with a second eye. I'm gonna look at it twice. I'm gonna think twice before I do it. I'm not just gonna offer my hospitality. I'm
Why?
not just gonna offer that my chivalry. This time I'm gonna think before I act, right? Because not everybody welcomes it. So I'm gonna use judgment this time, right? I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna use judgment. That's all I'm saying.
I'll
I'm gonna
say
do it.
this, Janae. I'm gonna chime in. Um, that's why I asked Antoine. He may have forgot. He may have didn't hear me. But the what nationality was this person?
Well, she looked white to me. I mean,
Okay,
I think
because I know when I was in Korea, I was stationed in Korea for a year, and from what I understood, it was kind of, so especially some of the older generation, was kind of disrespectful to open the door for them for that specific reason that you said. So culturally, there are certain things that are different. So I did see that when I was over there. So
okay.
that was just my 2 cents on that. I'm gonna come back to JL because I'm gonna say something. Then I want his perspective on it because I
Okay.
kind of want to hear his perspective as someone is a little bit younger than I am. So I think one of the things, I'm not saying that everything is lost like Antoine. I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm not saying that no generation or nobody is particular lost. I think that one of the things that we can do, and Antoine kind of talked about, and he was talking about, platforms like this where they're having discussions and they're talking about these certain topics, and hopefully trying to bring a solution to it. Whether they get the solution now or they go back and listen to all these different perspectives and draw their own conclusion and perspective from it, so be it. But one thing I think that we can really do is just model it. Just be models of whatever type of masculinity um, it is or whatever like this. And I think, when we look at masculinity, in some sense, maybe it needs to be defined first because what is masculinity? Some people are going to look at it from one point and other people are going to look at it from a different point of view. So whatever question or answer you get is going to be from said person's point of view. So just speaking on it in general, um, and if we can try to educate the masses based off certain stereotypes, then I think if you are a masculine man, then one thing that you can do is be a model. I was talking to someone today um, about my sons, and I didn't really have a model as a father for me. My last few years of high school, for whatever situation was going on in the house, my father wasn't around, so I didn't have modeled to me what a man should be like in, doing 14 to 17, 13 to 17 or so. So I know that I wasn't able to model certain things for my kids and my sons, and I know that they're going to be lacking in certain areas. And I know that was my fault. Good, bad, or indifferent. I didn't have it modeled and I didn't know. But like I said, for me, I think is one thing we can do is just model it. I think that's one short answer is to model it. But I want to see what JL has to say about this topic. How do we help young men get back their masculinity? You got
Uh,
two boys that you're raising.
Honestly, like it goes back to what I said in the chat. I mean, culturally, masculinity is defined differently across around the world. I mean, what's considered masculine in America is not considered masculine in Europe, in the Middle East. Like I found that out when I lived in Qatar for 2 years. Like, you know, over there, masculine is, hugging a fellow man, kissing him on his
Yeah,
cheek,
they walk
holding
down the street
hands,
holding hands.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so
with
in
robes
American,
on.
yeah. So me, I was like, nah, that's not gonna fly with me. Don't hold my hand. Don't kiss me on my
Yeah,
cheek. Like I don't play like that. But like culturally, as American men, we see it as like you guys were talking about being able to change a tire, change the oil in your car. Put food on the table. Clothes on your family's back. Me personally, as a man, and raising two young boys, I think it's about, you know, Antoine, like you were saying, like you held that door for that young lady, and she's like, I'm strong enough to hold the door. That doesn't matter to me. I was raised where you hold doors for everybody. Like if I saw,
Right?
you know, if I saw Garfield walking up, getting ready to, I'm gonna hold the door for him. That's just how I am. That's being polite. That's me being a decent human being. And having that one negative experience isn't going to stop that for me because that's in my upbringing. And I do the same thing with my boys. Like
That's who you
say
are.
yes, man. That's who I am. My masculinity resides in, you know, being a solid role model, being a good provider, you know, instilling these characteristics that I want my sons to grow with, being good people. That's what I consider being masculine. Showing up for the people you care about. So, you know, in my household, culturally, masculinity means just owning up to it. Like we don't bury our heads in the sand. You know, you can cry about it. By all means, cry, get it out there. But at the end of the day, you still gotta get up off the mat and answer the bell. That's just how it is. So I think for us to be able to get our younger men back to masculinity, it's about finding out what our core values are and instilling those in the generation coming behind us and having those conversations and saying, hey, this is what we expect when it comes to masculinity within my culture, within my perspective. Now, if you go into someone else's house, you know, then so be it. Like their definition of masculinity might be different, but here in the Summers household, this is how it's going to be. So, like when my boys they go to the bathroom, they're like, "Hey, flush the toilet," because I don't want to hear your mom's mouth, or you know, hey dad, I'm playing with dinosaurs. Hey, by all means, you know, and playing sports. That's masculine. But at the same time, if they want to dance and do something, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you are comfortable with who you are and the decisions you make, and you not being made to feel less than who you are, then hey, I can ride with it. That's how I feel that we should help out our younger generation.
JL, I'm right there with you, brother. I agree 100%. However, I also do agree with something that Antoine said. Now, you know, he want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can't do that. Right? We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, man. But here's what I mean
Antoine
when
say, why not?
here's what I mean when I say that, right? You can never erase anybody else's experience. Experience happened, it is now a part of their core makeup. They have learned lessons based upon those experiences. So, with that being said, I agree that these platforms are good for education purposes, but education only creates awareness. So what Uncle Junior said, the modeling piece, absolutely, that is one of those ways of helping them to do better. But also, we got to help to recreate the core behavior that exists, and the core behavior is the hardest thing to change. So, with that being said, they're going to have to get back to having a clear understanding of identity. This is one of the things that we talked about previously when we asked whether or not men can be good parents or whether men can be good fathers. It's all about identity. Once you have a good sound foundation when it comes down to your identity, then from there you can have a good concept, and that concept is how you view the world. When we start talking about again, and I love JL's question, like what is masculinity, right? Masculinity is defined, like I was saying previously, depending upon who you talk to. It's different perspectives of that. And so, because of that, that's going to shape their idea of what masculinity is. I had a great conversation with a friend of mine, Roland Walker, and we talked about toxic masculinity. So the ideas that were placed on men that shape their behavior about what a man is supposed to be doing. Well, in theory, now we're talking about what men aren't doing. So it's kind of like we have an idea of what they're supposed to be doing, and then they're not doing it. So we're someplace caught in the middle. You know, this is what they're supposed to be doing, this is what they're not doing. So what's the right answer? That's a great question. And the answer to that question will be derived based upon who it is you talk to. For me, and I think you guys already know this, my source document is, again, always the Bible. So that helps me to have a clear identity in the absence of a father who was not there. That being said, moving forward, that helps to shape my idea of what masculinity looked like to me. Going back to what JL said, in my household, this is what I like. I so love that statement, and here's why: because it doesn't matter what another person's perception is of what it is I'm doing. That's the key. So when we understand that, then we will stop like saying, okay, well, men should be doing this and men should be doing that, or women should be doing this and women should be doing that. Why can't we be more focused on understanding what it looks like to live in harmony? If we understand what it looks like to live in harmony, then what we're doing now is we're helping to create an environment to where whatever version of masculinity looks like and whatever version of femininity look like, it works together as a unit. That's the thing that we're missing. We're not working as a unit because we're too busy trying to redefine what somebody else looks like. And that to me is the core issue. So when we look at that, stop trying to define somebody else's identity and focus on what my core makeup is. That's my responsibility. That's my responsibility, defining what masculinity is for me. From there, when we start looking at the people that I associate with, then generally their identity, when it comes down to femininity and what they have, the expectations that they have, then it looks different. Because I would tell you, I don't have a problem putting the trash out. Not at all. Easily. I don't have a problem cutting the grass. But I'm also the same person when it comes down to it. I pay somebody to cut my grass in a heartbeat. That doesn't make me any less of a man. That means that I'm just deciding to be responsible for a thing in a different way. And so I think that's it, man. Again, education, creating awareness, and then helping to create the idea to where we can reshape core belief systems so that the behavior is more in line with what that person believes masculinity or femininity looks like.
But let's be clear. A man's job is to provide, take care of, protect, bring home. We've been doing that since the dawn of time. A woman's role is to nurture, to make sure it's run right, to make sure it's kept in balance, and to make sure everything works in sync. You can go anywhere. You can go to Trinidad. I've been to France. Masculinity, that's one thing a man needs to do. So don't tell
Not
me
necessarily.
Okay, so
in Asian culture, a lot of women run the household, and the father is just there to kind of, he's the more of the nurturer. No.
Come on. You can ask any Japanese, any Asian man, they're going to tell you, my wife runs the household, but I got to make sure she has what she needs to run that household. That's his role as a man. Okay, you ain't going to hear no man say a woman's going to get down and propose to him. That's a new thing right now. I get all that crap. But the man is the one that does it. Don't take that masculine role away from him. You can't tell me that's a feminine role anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. A man always has to do something. He always has to bring the bigger bull to get the prize. It's just the way it is. A man should be able to do that. And I tell any woman, if a man is not able to do that, why are you even with him? Like, I wouldn't even like, why? She should be able to say, okay, that's great. You have this, you got your life together. Good. You're paying your bills. You're supposed to do that. Right? And if he can't do that, why would you even give him the time of day? I wouldn't want to fix her upper. What for? In my day and time, modern, what do I want to fix her upper for? My job is not to tell you how to be a woman. My job is to make sure you smell like one and look like one when I need one. That's it. But your job is to do that. Don't get the roles. I will never wear the skirt and you will never wear the pants. Ain't happening. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's a masculine role. My father said it twice. I'll provide. I'll do everything to give your mother what she needs to be a woman and act like a woman and take care of things. And he passed that down to all of us.
So we're saying
you go anywhere in the world, and a man's role is to provide, take care of, protect. And that's it. Those are the main important things he's supposed to do.
Are we saying that fathers don't nurture their daughters?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you were to look at the roles, women nurture better than men. They just have that niche. You always go to your mother for the soft spoke. I never went to my father for soft spoken stuff. No, I don't even know anybody that does that. My father was there to make sure, son, this is how you handle it. You know what? You got hit today? Great. You know what? Get up tomorrow and do it again. My mother was the one that put the bandage on, told me everything was going to be all right. Listen to what your father says. Put your pants on in the morning and follow his lead. That's nurturing. My father didn't tell me no bandage, no nothing. Wipe that crap off and get back there. What? Did you at least get the first punch in? I mean, I don't understand why we're trying to confuse roles.
Are we talking roles or are we talking relationship dynamics?
But men nurture, but they don't nurture like a woman. Women are just, I mean, they make great nurses. I mean, they do. They make great doctors too. But they just have that extra level.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't agree with that one. I got what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong.
Every man will cry for his mother more than his father. Every man. I don't care who you are. You will cry for your mother more than your father.
Relationship,
maybe not. everyone, because I don't know everyone, but generally, we love them equally, but differently.
But
That's
again,
all I'm
that's
saying.
what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you there. Relationship dynamics look different. So
That's nurturing.
right, that's what I'm saying. So the
Okay.
relationship between me and my mother looks totally different than the relationship between me and my father.
Exactly. That's
The relationship between me and my daughter looks 100% different than the
different.
relationship between me and my son.
That's
So
different.
we're talking relationship dynamics now, right? Men nurture. I won't even do a comparison and say that women nurture better than men, because that's a matter of
They do. Like just like men provide better than women. That's why we take on the better jobs. That's why we take on the heavy lifting. We provide better than women. What are you talking about, man?
It's a
Don't
matter
try
of
to get that twisted.
Yeah, that's a
Men
matter of
provide. That's a man's role. Is to
Yeah.
protect. You ain't gonna let your woman step in front of you and throw blocks, unless you're saying that's now all of a sudden, depending on whatever you're trying to say.
I'm not talking about protection.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's a man's role. A man is meant to provide. He's meant to provide. I don't know why that's so hard for men to comprehend. There's no question about it. None.
I don't think no man on this panel is questioning the provision piece.
And women are meant to nurture. Men don't do it as good as women. They're on another level. They see, my father always said, I don't fear your mother's strength, I fear her words. And it's true. I don't understand why men are having a hard time. Women are emotionally stronger than men. What? You see a man go to the bottle, drink, want to kill himself after a relationship. Man, you'll see a woman put on her makeup, go to work the next day, come home and cry in the bathroom, and nobody will know a thing. So don't tell me, give credit when credit is due. Come on. Women are better nurturers than men. That's a fact.